The school squads are always exciting and fun until a roadie joins in and challenges their popularity. A tale of 5 girls who cherish our feed with their marvelous fighting skills. A meeting has been called between the members of Supreme 5 Swords to ward off the newbie who doesn't fall into their local protocols. The previous records show that he was expelled from the school due to a fight involvement. He has exceptional martial arts skills unknown to them. Rin, Mary, Wii, Tsukuyo and Satori are in the squad, willing to kick him out. The enemy's name is Nomura, who has entered the territories of the school. He is amazed to see all the girls around, because the boys are also forced to live like girls here. Pamu, another mysterious yet amazing character, comes in and warns them about the Nomura's magic bullet attacks. It seems she had already been in a fight with him. Hence, the 5 armed girls are ruled by Rin, who is also responsible for supporting and training the new incomers. They notify the existing ritual of the school, which is all boys are mandatory to behave feminine with makeup on and follow the dress code as well. Because they can't let the boys rule girls in this school, they are either to coexist or leave. In the past, the school was all girls, and when boys started sneaking into the academy, the decorum of the school becomes perished. They start humiliating girls, so the school allows the squad to hold swords against the bully boys. The headmistress points Rin to handle all the responsibilities and make different committees to deal with the bully boys. Since then, the boys are under their control and compelled to behave girlishly. So, Nomura is left with 2 choices only. Either he has to coexist with all other boys and behave girlish or leave. He is a hard competition and refuses to give up at the top of his voice, which is amusing for all of them. No one ever dares to stand against the 5 Supreme Swords. He diverts their attention to their weapons and begs for a little mercy to spare his life because he is without any weapons. Rin offers a weapon to fight and prove himself, but he is not interested. However, she challenges her to make him decide on one option till the lunch break. He jumps out of the window and rushes to get rid of them, but Rin follows him. They fight against each other, Rin with weapons and Nomura barehanded. Rin is so powerful and has some real training, but Nomura is no less. He introduces an amazing dodging skill called Horizontal Strike. He was an inch from losing his lower limbs but impressed the Rin through his vitality and strength. Rin has not given up yet. She introduces the mirrored breathing technique, but he dodges the attack powerfully. It is not always easy for anyone to dodge the attack, but he is capable of some extraordinary skills. She then uses the dragon's tail and blur one after the other, predicting the moves of Nomura, but he dodges them as well. Chest strike makes, and then crane stance attacks are also presented beautifully, but Nomura gets all those moves on knees. He's brilliant at dodging skills. Instead of fighting, he is taking all this as a fun activity. However, Rin has read his weakness and used it against him. She distracts him with the expected incoming leg strike, but she uses the hidden trick of the school. Unfortunately, he can't go against it and slits his face with it. He then realizes the Rin is holding the extremely powerful 8-Sun sword, so he also takes out his secret weapon. These blade-resistant gauntlets are helpful with dodging the remarkable sword attacks. The fight has become the interest of the whole school. They are amused to see someone giving equal competition to Rin because it is nearly impossible for anyone. A few seconds are left to the bell. A tree has blocked Nomura, and Rin gets the advantage of using the most exceptional one cycle and outer rotation. He has nowhere to move, so the only option is to dodge it with the weapon. He drops the jaws of every spectator when he stands against multiple strikes of Rin. Also, he moves away and uses the magic bullets technique. She falls far behind with the loud thrush or invisible pistol. She tried to hold the sword, but he blocked her hands. Till then, another armed girl jumps in to rescue Rin, but a mistake makes them kiss. Nomura falls on Rin's lips and can't help it because the armed girl strikes at his back while he is at the top. This is the biggest mistake anyone could ever make in the history of the school. Rin is extremely out of control, but Nomura is not at fault. The armed girl makes them do it. He tries to calm the situation by introducing his name. Rin shouts out loud the punishment of castration for Nomura, but it is supposed to be the correct word, at least for Nomura. He is not interested in being in the school yet can't leave without permission. Hence, Nomura needs 5 stamps to leave the school grounds. He can do anything to get them. The 2 sisters from the 5 Supreme Swords group, Mary and Choka, enter the bath to discuss the hot topic, the mistaken kiss. The armed girl is so terrified of Rin and hiding in different corners. On the other hand, Nomura's friend is amazed that he only hurt his ankle throughout this remarkable fight, because Rin never leaves anyone without hurting until their last breath. But Nomura is lucky or an equal competition. Anyhow, he informs that the leaving slip requires 5 stamps from all 5 members of the Rin squad. He is unlucky with that because Rin is never going to put the stamp on. To resolve the conflicts between Rin and the other girls, he takes out the bunch of cakes as a war gesture. Rin is lying on the bed, suffering from cold and shock. She is extremely angry at what he has done to her. She is all ready with the sword to fight against him because, somehow, she is aware that he will try to sneak in. He enters to surprise her with the cakes, but she is burning with anger and fever. He even raises the temperature by flirting with her. Instead of being angry, Rin falls for his flirtatious talk. She is impressed and ready to put the stamp on. He asks her to go on a date in clothes other than a uniform. She blacks out to hear the offer, and he tries to hold her back, but unfortunately, the upper button slits off with his strong grip. In the meantime, the armed girl enters and freaks out to see their leader in such a state. She pushes all the emergency exits down and chases him. He runs to save his life, but she follows him everywhere without listening to a single word. They bump into the Mary, Queen of Butterflies. She is here to fight against the Nomura because he embarrassed their leader. However, the armed girl revealing his name and authority takes the allowance to fight him as she is the one closer to Miss Rin. However, they both are dying to kill him and move ahead with their remarkable weapons. Nano uses the school's special technique, short swords strike, shock and shove. At the same time, Cho-Ka rips off his shirt with the whip. Both ladies surround him in a circle and initiate the strikes. But soon, Nomura realizes they lack teamwork, so he introduces the magic bullet technique and throws her out. They both have loosened hearts, but Mary asks for encouragement to stand against him. They start crying and piss off all the girls out there, especially Mary, who is burning in anger to see her sister crying. She is ready to avenge her tears at any cost. Also, Rin will supervise him next because all the girls are terrific at his seductive behaviors. Mary and Rin want to correct Nomura, but he is not worried about anything. He knows that he is going to be treated hard by these fierce ladies, but he is more interested in the past stories. He asks his friend about anyone who could take them down or stand against them. He mentions a recent transfer mysterious student whose hands are no less than a blade. He can handle both of them together and even dodge them with one move. Nomura remembers an opponent from a few months back who was the same as her. Hence, he says nothing and finds Rin shouting at his window. She is here to supervise him strictly and starts the inspection for today. Rin asks Nomura to go ahead as she wants to deal with Mary alone. She falls in love with Nomura and wants to protect him against the other women. She introduces a fight to win Nomura, and a mesmerizing fight starts between them. However, the fight ends soon because Rin is not at her optimal strength after the sickness. On the other hand, Cho-Ka follows him and challenges him with the whip. He pulls her closer with the whip and thrashes her back easily. Unfortunately, his clothes have been stripped off, and the mysterious girl has seen him naked. While putting them on, he remembers that the mysterious girl looks exactly like a boy named Amu. He asks about her past, and she claims to be the same person, Amu, whose hands are no less than blades. However, she states that she is not the same Amu he met last time. She has changed completely. Nomura is amused to see her as a girl because she was a boy in the last meeting. He moves to check on her, but she disappears because she wants an introduction later. Mary comes in and seems off to see Cho-Ka unconscious. Amu sneaks into her permanent Buddha's room. Amu realizes that he is the same boy who refused to become her subordinate earlier, and now she has to kill him at any cost. She tests her palm's strength by inducing a hole into a large Buddha statue. In the meantime, Mary is fighting Nomura for making Cho-Ka unconscious. She is throwing excellent moves. Nomura is always in trouble instead of having positive intentions toward the armed girls. He has been accused every time, but he has to keep up with the fights. She uses the flick and roundabout moves to slit his body from several spots. He can't dodge her vitality and weakens to stand against her. She wants to drain his mental energy so that he can admit defeat. She uses 2 other Japanese moves to rip off his body, but luckily, his vitality helps him to move. Rin asks for them and rushes towards them. The headmistress is a pig-tailed white-haired girl teaching all about the moves the Mary is using during the fight. Because she has some exceptional hearing capabilities, she can even predict what's in someone's heart. Rin is going in the wrong direction. Nomura rushes in to attack her, but she has already predicted what he is going to do. So, she uses the final move to stab the sword into his body. She surpasses the sword into his clothes, thinking that he is dead. But Nomura surprises her by revealing comic books under his clothes, which helps him spare his life. He uses the remarkable magic bullets at her and throws her back, hence turning the tables in a moment. She wants to die getting harassed by him because if he doesn't do anything to her, it is a shame to predict that she is less attractive than Rin or the other girls he seduced. So, she compels him to do anything he wants, but he is a man of moral values. She even tries to bribe him with the stamp, but he refuses. So, she falls for him and admits defeat. Ain enters and sees him near Mary. She turns red in anger and takes out the sword to correct him instantly. Mary reveals that this was all a test, and he passed by controlling his desires. He has been gifted with the stamp, and a second instructor, Mary, along with Rin. Rin and Mary are both watching out for Namura for the correction of his behaviors. Although he keeps flirting with them, and they feel outrageous, both pull out their swords. A new character has been introduced into the school, Warabi, who is back after a trip. She notices the fight between Rin, Mary, and Namura and discusses it with Satori. The discussion brought up the decision to appoint Warabi as the corrector of Namura. Hence, she is more interested in a blood play. The next morning, Namura's friend is hung to the cross at the center of the school, unconscious. He investigates the whole situation and discovers Namura's misconduct during the period. She finds a suitable candidate for the blood game and hangs his friend on the death board. Namura freaks out to see his friends in such a state and agrees to do whatever they ask. Warabi asks him to face every challenge she has set up in the school, and she will spare his friend's life. Plus, she will reward him with the stamp. Rin and Mary try to rebel, but the authorities have decided this, and no one can oppose the orders. She welcomes 3 musketeers as the first challenge for Namura, along with disappearing all spectators. The 5 Swords group has made all the decisions without the involvement of Rin. The first game has been started, and Rin informs a later Warabi's game where a candidate was introduced with a torch flame called relay play. Consequently, the flame burns the whole building. The end point of the game can come up with tragic results. Warabi introduces the Raging Sumo Ring, which seems exciting for Namura, but Rin knows how terrific the game is going to be. Rin and Mary really hope that the game will not end with Warabi because then the winning chances are so slim. Warabi also gives them the Somo belts, which need to be tied properly. The musketeers offer help with tying belts, but this induces a fight among them. The armed girls are so furious that they attack them without giving it a second thought. However, they use the double police baton, which is more powerful even if their weapons can't stand against them. This is a type of wrestling competition, so they need to tie belts tight. After consuming the first attacks of 3 musketeers, the armed girls are deeply disappointed because they have been betrayed. In between the arguments, Namura comes up with the tied belt. He can now help them with these belts. Rin and Mary ask him to help them without knowing that this could be so embarrassing for them. Hence, super awkwardly, Namura helps them tie the belts. He jumps into the Somo ring to challenge the musketeers, but the whole game has been turned around. His competitor is not a human but a fierce bear. This is even non-human to present a bear by tricking it with 3 humans. The 3rd human was actually considered a musketeer, but he turned out to be an ordinary person. Warabi announces that if one of you will defeat the bear, the 3 of them will be promoted. The 3 of them want to participate first, but Namura has already made up his mind about this battle. The match starts the moment the soda bottle hits the ground. Namura cleverly tackles the first attack, Psyop down, and is apparently saving energy to introduce the hidden move. He introduces the magic bullet and places his first attack at that moment. However, it is not just enough, so he, without wasting a single moment, uses his left hand to use the same magic bullet technique. This weakens the bear a bit, but it is not enough. The bear has turned furious and uses the open hand slap, but extreme vitality and strength help him to dodge and even throw another attack consequently. So he uses the foot sweep. This makes the bear unable to move on its legs. Namura holds the bear in his arms with the help of a belt and does not allow it to go until the belt loosens. Rin and Mary are impressed to see that Namura is concerned about the insult they have faced while tying the belt. Hence, they ask him to let go of it, but he takes it to the end point, takes a step backward, and the bear's belt untied automatically. Namura finally wins, and Warabi is embarrassed to see her defeat. She calls off the games and now commences the war between them. She asks them to reach the Red Pepper Tower shift for the next battle. After announcing the reward of the games, the stamp, she introduces a new, more challenging battle. She asks him to reach the rooftop in 10 minutes. However, every floor is covered with her armed girls, and the 3 musketeers will be in charge. He has to fight a number of warriors, but 10 minutes is a very brief period. There are a total of 34 high-rank warriors in the building. Rin and Mary have killed the 2 camera women and reduced it to 32 in a moment. Rin and Mary want to join him, but he insists on going alone because his only friend's life is at stake. Also, he needs the stamp but not them. However, they are not listening to a single word and want time to prepare. They are changing clothes, but Namura mistakenly enters. Nano and Choka slap him hard and warn him to do any bad stuff to them again. Also, the time has come, and the door opens. Instead of mugging with the high-rank warriors, Namura sends Nano and Choka to fight them. and they are doing their best jobs. He needs to find a way out to the rooftop without even entering the building. Luckily, Satori, who was with Warabi, apparently turned against her to see her cleverness and brutality. She helps them to make a way out to the rooftop directly, and they reach the point. However, Warabi refuses to keep her promise and asks them to forget about the stamp. Instead, Namura's friend has been rescued by some masked people. They don't know who they are and why they are helping. Hence, Warabi calls out the ferocious bear to fight against them. She does not accept defeat at any cost because the punishment is to wear the same belts live on TV. He moves ahead to fight the bear and tries to use the technology's sayings while fighting it. But the tricks never worked, and he gets thrashed. Rin warns him to avoid internet usage here and fight like real. On the other hand, marrying the champion of thrusting sword techniques is ahead to fight the three musketeers. They are here to help their princess, Warabi. Warabi is pup-petting the bear on her hands, forgetting that Rin is also there. However, Warabi is much more potent than thought. She uses the Teisha School Odachi technique No 8 and slits her body. She is an expert in school techniques because she is one to give the training to bear. She is a great ringmaster who can stab hidden weapons into the opponent's body. Returning blade and horizontal right slash are the other techniques used consequently during the fight. Warabi jumps higher and uses the Odachi technique 11, Yaosha, but Rin successfully rescues it. Then she uses the combined technique of kicking Dragon's tail and tracking her with the same techniques. She also throws the crane pose. However, Rin is fighting like a pro, successfully dodging them all. In the hype moment, she uses the school's best kicking technique. Namura uses the magic bullets multiple times on the bear, but the thing is, he has been cornered. Mary is so brilliantly doing her work with the musketeers, but the three of them are not easy to handle. Warabi finds the chance to step ahead in the fight and uses right armor breaking stance. Namura distracts the attention of girls around him, and Beer gets confused. It misses the punch, and Namura finds the chance to throw the totally straight punch. The bear has been defeated, and so the musketeers, when married, throw some Japanese moves onto them with excellent speed and strength. The headmistress' ears are all able to hear the tiniest of moves. She can predict the victory with the moves they are using in the field. Hence, she explains that the victory is for those who take a step ahead, loosening the fear against the opponent. Rin does the same and uses the hidden technique, one blade, and throws Warabi out of place. Namura suggests tying the belt to her and asks Rin, Mary, to help, but they get furious because he seems interested in Warabi, too. They start chasing him with the sword, but he is confused. Hence, they win the battle, and Namura gets the third stamp. The next morning, Rin and Mary spend some extra time preparing for the class. They reach Namura and spend the whole day with him. After the remarkable fight with the Warabi and Beer, all girls are crushing on him. They are in love with him all heads to heels, but Rin and Mary are so pissed off at them. Also, Namura does not give them a glimpse of even a frown, which is more exhausting for them. He notices a stalker but ignores it. At the day's end, Warabi notices their craze for Namura and explains why they are helping him with the battles. He doesn't even notice the changed uniform of Rin and the different perfume of Mary, which makes them so upset. Anyhow, they get back to their old uniform and perfume. Now, Namura notices and comments on their uniform and perfume. Today's inspection brings trouble for him. They find a picture of him with Satori all naked. He doesn't even know how and when did it happen. He has no memory and is the same amused as them to see the picture, but In and Mary are thirst of his blood to see it. Warabi finds him escaping from both of them and helps him hide behind the beer. The beer has become a friend, and so has Warabi. She wants to help him with this scam picture because Satori has played a foul game to disappoint Rin and Mary. She doesn't like her act, so she wants to disclose it in front of the Rin and Mary to prove Namura's innocence. They are sure that Satori has left with some of the evidence in her room, but Namura is highly restricted from moving to the girls' dorm. Therefore, he lets Rin and Mary take him to the torture room, where they slash him like a loaf of bread. They torture him brutally, and Warabi brings the dinner for him. Hence, they get into the room but find nothing. Warabi helps him to hide from the two wandering girls and then takes him to the bath. They see that Satori's weapon is missing, and the moment they realize that they have been attacked, a random masked woman attacks them with the blowgun technique man, and Warabi helps him to dodge. Satori comes out of the bath naked and finds it amusing to see Warabi working with Namura. She exclaims that the masked women were all part of a plan and they were stalking him all around. Even Namura's friend helps them to implement the plan. The previous night, when they find the chance to get the plan, they inform Satori and take her to his room. Satori takes out some pictures to ruin his reputation and also to disrespect Rin and Mary. She has the proof of his innocence hanging around her neck. She asks for a fight to let them get the proof. On the other hand, Rin and Mary are gonna waste time drinking a lot of alcohol, but somehow they know that Namura is not a bad boy. So Mary think of something else compelling him to do all this. Rin is also crying to feel the disrespect. Hence, Namura and Warabi are asked to fight, and Satori takes Namura into the bath to fight. Also, she is using her naked body to distract his attention. Warabi and Namura have been drugged, so they lose a bit of their vision. Satori throws a hard blow at him after voluntarily putting him into an argument. She has this trick to distract him with the emotional talk and then turn to his usual self, attacking him. Although he is good at dodging, he gets some slashes. He realizes that she has been using the Shindu Manan school techniques. She gives him a glimpse and then instantly attacks her feet with the Asayama Ikiden style, Harmony, and he can't dodge it. While Warabi is losing vision because there is a drug in every mouthpiece they are touching. She slits her hand with the sword to induce the pain of the wound so that she can regain consciousness. Satori uses the Tsutsumi Hasen style, Hatton Girl, which is a different school. That move dings the bell, and he realizes that she is from Kishi School, which uses the top 10 techniques with their own pint of change. Satori is amused to see his intelligence and challenges him with another secret technique, Horizontal Eye Attack. Warabi regains consciousness and thinks of something indolent for her, Taisha style, Toppy, but this move turns against her. She lost her weapon. Satori confuses the poor Namura with the word riddles and takes out the Makiatoshi move, a messy move for him. Meanwhile, Ikitoshi helps her to win against him by slitting his wrist with the sword. Namura has no choice but to strip his clothes, so he follows his wish. Satori immediately gets distracted and loses focus even when she throws the sword with all her strength at him. He wins the challenge by weakening her powers. Warabi, at the same time, uses some exceptional judo techniques. Taisha's sword for Warabi and the stolen sword of Namura act like savior moves. The headmistress is chasing the bath with an armed girl, and they are already fighting. Warabi unveils the masked woman but faints to get a loud thrash. Satori still has the courage to blackmail Namura by throwing the data into the water. However, he slaps her face and throws her into the water with the data. He explains that he is not angry at losing the data or for the picture, but for the tears Rin shed to see the picture. Namura also helps Satori realize that she is not a monster, but a human who also has feelings. Still, Satori expresses hatred toward him. She pulls him in when he tries to give her a hand because the headmistress is coming. Hence, she finds the masked woman and Warabi unconscious and asks 3 musketeers to help them into the bed. When she goes inside to meet Satori, Namura hides behind her, but the headmistress knows everything about it. She asks Satori to give her a word after putting him to bed because he is feeling to his limits after all that exhaustion. Satori is embarrassed but takes him to bed. On the other hand, Rin and Mary are both finding it difficult to sleep. Namura's face revolves in their minds whenever they try to close their eyes. They both sneak out of their room to move to the punishment room to see him but bump into each other. To reduce the awkwardness, they go to the cafeteria together. Both wait for each other to leave the cafeteria so the other one can move to the punishment room. Gano and Choka find them drinking too much alcohol, but they do not admit defeat, until Satori comes in and informs them about Namura, who is sleeping in the girls' dorms. They take a deep breath but instantly shout when they get to know that he faints while fighting Satori in the bathroom. The headmistress is suffering from a fever. Satori helps him to dress up and welcomes Rin into the dorm. Namura is convinced that Rin would take it the wrong way, but Rin's bowed head turns the tables 360 degrees. She is seeking an apology for treating him badly after all this. She also knows that it was all Satori's plan, and this proves the Namura's innocence, so she asks for a punishment. Namura asks her to close her eyes and take out her mask as a punishment. Taking it out without her permission is rude because no one has ever seen her without the mask. Hence, she can't say anything because it is the punishment. Namura asks for the reason behind her mask. She explains that her mother used to call her ugly all the time and compelled her to cover her face always. Slowly, this becomes part of her identity, but Namura's only admiration brings a light of joy to her face. Namura wants to smash it, but he returns it and lets her wear it until she wants to. Warabi is holding his pee in the next dorm as she doesn't want to disturb them. Namura explains that he was an orphan and spent his childhood with swords and a rude old man. Mary comes in and starts apologizing for the same thing. She even strips off her clothes to allow him to do anything, but he freaks out to see it. He is back in the room and greets his friend. He also finds his permission card with one more stamp. Namura is having a nightmare with Amu and how their fight ended. The next morning, Namura is called out by Rin at the top of his voice when he is listening to a scary event in the men's bathroom. Two feminine men are scared to see a random terrific woman with big hair glazing them through the window. The news spread to the headmistress, and she wards off the classes for today because it predicts an incoming danger for the school. Also, the mistress, Amu, is missing. Also, Choka loses her wig, and Warabi loses the beer cub. They make teams find both, and Namura finds out that the beer cub with Choka's wig is at its head. He takes it into the men's bathroom, thinking that the men had watched this monster before. They are relieved that it's just a beer cub, not a monster. He finally unmasked the monster in the men's bathroom, but Warabi never wanted to show off the beer cub to the public. Choka gets her wig back, but it has been ruined completely. Satori is wondering about the real relationship with Namura when her lookalike comes in. She humiliates her and slaps her, until Amu comes in and calls her a monster. Amu also has the only copy of her picture with Namura, but she slits it off into pieces. This gives rise to a dispute. Kishi School. A quick draw is a starting move from Satori, but he gets a terrific matchless return blow in exchange. Amu uses her blades like hands and stabs her in the stomach. She is poorly injured, and Amu is about to kill her until the lookalike throws the blow darts at her. By considering the blow darts, it is revealed that she is the same masked woman stalking Namura and even fought Warabi in the bathroom. Amu stabs the fingers into the stomach and kills the lookalike, but it is revealed that the lookalike is actually the real Satori, and the one acting like Satori is her little sister. Since childhood, she liked to see people lower down in front of her, and she snatches her sister's name, face, identity, and future. But now she is feeling so disappointed to see her sister dying. However, Amu releases her despair by stabbing her hand into his body. She is also poorly injured. Both sisters are on their last breaths. Warabi had the idea of all this, and she came here to rescue them. She challenges a fight between them by using the incredible move of using a beer and a woman together. She uses the beer swordsmanship, switch. Amu dodges them with the simultaneous war and, in return, moves to the tiger's claw. But her body looks like made of steel. She doesn't even get a little slash. She is strong and arrogant, all in the same body. Namura is walking down near the fountain with his friend, and they see the headmistress sitting there. He wants his last stamp, so he moves to her without knowing what she can do. The friend tries to warn him, but he is overconfident. Everyone knows that she is a fellow student with the most dangerous swordsmanship. She is a member of a 5-armed squad, but no one is her friend. She is a cool bone who can minimize the temperature everywhere. Although Namura wants the last stamp, he is willing to take the risk. But getting closer to her, he feels a hard push and falls back, tromping with a stone. He didn't even notice her taking out the sword, aiming at his neck, and putting it back. She spares his life as he owes an explanation for the disobedience he showed 3 times by breaking into the girls' dorms. Also, she transports the sword to an incoming fluttering butterfly. Namura is happy to see himself alive after all those disobediences. Although he worries that girls always like butterflies, why did she kill the innocent insect? She informs that she just performed one of the most exceptional tricks, Katsu, to kill the butterfly because she doesn't like its buzz. She is also aware of the most incredible moves, such as Unyu, which can't be seen with the naked eye. What makes it even more incredible is that she performs the swordsmanship with blind eyes. She also figures out that Namura is a fellow student based on his past fights. The headmistress was able to recognize and read each and every single move. On the rooftop, Warabi has become the weaker one and is unable to rescue her beer. Amu uses the 4 speared hands to stab into the beer's body, which is instantly out of the way. She walks to Warabi to pull out her last breaths, but a musketeer jumps in and thrashes Amu's head with a weapon. But it does not affect her. Instead, she turns to him with the auto counter-gouging fist and throws him out instantly. The headmistress also confirms that she heard the name of his magic bullet from Amu since she was in school. It seems they both have met already. Amu, on the other hand, defeats the other 2 musketeers at the point without any delay. She just passes her blade hands into their body and gets them laid instantly. Namura hears the screams and worries about them when the headmistress is talking about his magic bullet technique. She also wants to be friends with him, considering his previous friendship with other 4-armed girls. But Namura is uninterested and flies to the rooftop to see what's happening there. The headmistress is so disappointed at Namura for ignoring her friend's request. Amu is going to kill Warabi's musketeers, but she begs for their life and shows a desperate willingness to sacrifice her life for them. She obeys her wish and slits her eyes in a single move. The screams lead Rin and Mary to follow them, and they start chasing to the rooftop to spare their lives. Namora sees Warabi dripping in blood and her difficulty breathing. Still, she is worried about others. Hence, a silent man standing behind Namora offers his help with treating their wounds. He asks Namora to go and watch Amu before she kills someone else. He can take care of all of them. Namora finds that Amu has compelled the girls to fight, and they both use the Baelstra Mist together. However, dodging their collective attack is just a child's play for her. She uses the roundhouse block and throws them out in a single move. It seems that her whole body is like a living weapon, and she is an expert in Take Mikazuchi, sword from the body skills. She is about to hurt Nono and Choka, but the headmistress comes in between to challenge her. Considering Nono her friend, she challenges Amu to a fight because she can't let her hurt her friends. The headmistress knows all about Amu and how she spent her childhood turning her body into blades. She has more knowledge of karate than Amu herself. After revealing all the mesmerizing information, she challenges her to fight. The headmistress also drops the temperature of the surroundings as an initial move. She moves to her and uses the 1 second, 3 strikes collectively with the Unyu flash of light. The attacks are so robust that they can't predict who hurt who. However, lastly, it seems that the headmistress is injured, and her weapons are crushed like paper. It is clear that she can't fight without her weapon, but she moves ahead to throw a counterattack. Suddenly, Namora comes in between and asks her to pedal back when he is about to fight Amu. Amu shouts out loud to see Namora standing against her, even with his terrible past. The scream lures the attention of the whole school. Hence, they recall their previous friendship when Namora joined the same school as Amu. Amu used to be a boy whom he wanted to kiss, but they ended up best friends. Instead of becoming friends, Amu tries to control Namora his every move. Once, he refuses to see the gardens with him because he is already going with a random schoolboy who asks him first. But Amu killed the poor child instead of considering his precious life. Namora turns to reality and exposes his frustration against her in the form of a punch, but before his hand can touch her face, Amy stabs her fingers into his chest. She uses the counter-attack and makes him lose his balance. Luckily, he is using the magazine to dodge her attacks under his shirt. Once again, the headmistress tries to befriend Namora, but he refuses to be with her. Instead, his kind nature impresses her well. Also, he spells out his hatred for Amu because she was never worthy to be friends with. Also, he has nothing else to defend against her counterattack. So, he has to come up with another strategy, until Rin and Mary figure out that the magic bullets will help him to counterattack or even win against her. They advise him to go with his perfect move. He has made up a plan to be within the shortest distance of her and throw a punch. But her roundhouse block is enough to throw him back. He tries to use the magic bullet, but she already knows the trick, so it goes against the plan. She uses the curbing strike and throws him away. He has been rescued by the headmistress, and she also pours some valuable advice into his ears. Also, highlight the mistakes in the previous attacks. He now has a new spirit to fight against her as he has accepted his childhood reality, and feels so much encouraged to remember the horrific past. Amu sighs in regret because her past was filled with gray, no colors. She also never wanted to have colors back then, until Namora came into her life and filled it with colors. She really wanted to have him back, but it seems it is now impossible because her evil has ruined it all. She has lost hope of getting rid of her black past and getting Namora's friendship back. That's why the only way to calm her pounding heart is to kill Namora at any cost. She believes that if he can't be hers, then he deserves to die. Namora falls for her advice and is ready to fight like a beast. She is distracted by his unclothed body, and Namora finds the chance to pierce her chest with the magic bullet trick. She is weakened, but still, she manages to stand against him. He throws a punch at her but gets another coming his way. This adds thrill to the fight, along with the pouring rain. Amu once more strikes because she likes him watching, thinking, and acting only at her, even if it's a fight. She also uses the auto counter in return for the magic bullet technique. Amu turns the tables when she wants him to kill her because she wants to give up on him. She wants to lose because of her strong, passionate love for Namora. He gets the chance and uses his last strike, which makes him win against the most rebellious fighter in the school. Hence, it is not just the end yet. The headmistress wants to complete the fight, and in return, she'll gift him with the stamp. The showers of mercy on him are because he is not like other boys, but a kind-hearted man who feels for his friends. She also wants to supervise him ahead of time. He is about to refuse the offer while everyone wishes him to do the opposite. Until the masked girls are here, the silent, mysterious character comes in. He is not a boy but a girl, the major headmistress who controls and tracks all events happening in the school. She passes the command to expel Namora from the school. He is happy to get the expulsion because he already wanted that. After the recovery, he finds Warabi resting on the bed and watching her beer getting better. He says goodbye to them and then said the same to Satori. While Rin and Mary are debating with the major headmistress to reconsider the decision, Namura is just holding up the peace of the school. Amu was the one to initiate a fight. Namura is not at fault. The headmistress is waiting for him already, and she informs him about Amu, who has already gone to the airport. He wants to follow her back, but the headmistress stops him because the paperwork is yet to be completed, and he can't leave the school grounds until the last stamp. The headmistress stamps his card, and he finds Amu leaving. She pulls him closer and kisses him. This is mind-breaking and shocking for him, but Amu is happy she got his Namura back. She knows that he is all hers until the very start. She owns her love for him today and still leaves. Rin and Mary find out about the major headmistress joke about the expulsion and find out that the decision has been warded off. They bring Namura back to the school, but he can live on his own terms. He doesn't need to coexist, but Rin, Mary will be their supervisors. Also, he has been welcomed warmly by his friends, Nano, Choka, and all others. He again stepped into the territories of the school with a joyful heart. Like this video and subscribe to Annie Summary for more anime recap.